Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. This is your host Vaibhav. In today's session of Daily Stock, we are going to look at the quarterly earnings of the CRM company Salesforce, which is flying higher in today's session. After releasing better than expected quarterly earnings, the company stock is almost 9 percentage point up for the day and is likely to continue to rise higher in the coming sessions as well. So we will be looking at the factors which are driving the valuations of the Salesforce force higher and what are the kind of price levels at which we can also look for dipping our feet and try to get such trade or investment scenarios where we also have higher probability of profiting than making losses. So we are going to consider the fundamental factors which are driving the company's revenues up and up. For last couple of sessions, the growth in revenues has been quite good, and even though the revenue growth is lower in percentage terms compared to the prior years, but this is happening on the higher base, and also now the AI factor is coming into play, and the company is trying to capitalize on that. It has strong presence in the cloud software segment. It offers the CRM solutions to various enterprises, and it has a lot of data on its hand for figuring out how to use the data, and using that data coupled with the AI, we can see that the Salesforce is quite well positioned for boosting the productivity of its clients, and that is a reason why more and more companies are signing up for its CRM segment, and this is also one key factor why the share price is up so much in today's session, because not only there is growth in the revenue, but with this new signing up of the clients, the company is giving us the fine guidance of the future where the revenues are likely to go much higher. And also, if we consider the forward guidance provided by the Salesforce for the next quarter, this is also on the higher side sequentially as well as annually. So these are some of the factors which are bringing a bullish momentum in the company stock, and we have this information sourced from the released quarterly statement of the Salesforce. If you look at the highlights of these quarterly earnings for the third quarter of fiscal year 2024, the revenues for the third quarter were at $8.72 billion, which is 11% year-on-year rise compared to the last year, the same quarter of last year. The EPS is also on the higher side, and if we look at the various segments which have contributed to these higher revenues, there is growth in most of the segments in which the company has presence. So this is not one of phenomenon, and given the strong pipeline of the deals, we can count on the sales force to deliver us the revenue growth in coming quarters as well. And we have already a better than expected result, and coupled with better than current quarter's revenue in the next quarter, the growth trajectory is quite strong, and that is I think one key reason for this bullish momentum in the stock. If we look at the consolidated statement of operations for the Salesforce for the 3 months ended October 31st, 2023, you can see that the subscription and support has brought in more than $8 billion, which is a strong growth if we compare it to the same quarter of 2022, where the revenue stood at $7.2 billion. And also there is this another segment of professional services in which there is not much of an growth. There is stagnant, but since we have growth in subscription and support, it is not having much of a negative impact. It is simply contributing on a lower scale. The margin for the company is quite robust. It has spent only $2.1 billion for the cost of revenues, and then if we look at the remaining expenses, the total operating expenses come to $5.064 billion, and that brings us net income of $1.2 billion, and with that the EPS comes to $1.26, which is a lot higher if we compare it to the EPS a year back. Now all these factors are building, or you can say generating, a bullish momentum for the company. The balance sheet is quite robust with its liabilities. The debt is not much, and if we look at the cash flow statement, you can see that the operating activities have provided more than $1.5 billion, and the company has used that cash in stock buyback and investing activities. So, in a way, the company has returned the cash to its shareholders. All in all, this is a fairly good quarter for the company, and with this growth in revenues likely to continue in coming quarters as well, I think we have the reasons to believe in the continuity of bullish momentum in the stock, and we will do well to keep looking for the opportunities to buy the shares of Salesforce. And for that, of course, we need to see what are the price levels and what is the time horizon on which we will be acting. If you are a short term trader, you can look at the recent swing low, which comes in around 225, to act as a immediate marker, and as long as the share price remains above that, we can be fairly confident in our trades if we are looking for a buy. But since there has been a strong rally already and it is trading higher, I think the risk reward ratio doesn't work out that well. If you had brought in earlier, maybe you can continue to hold the position, but at the current juncture, getting involved for the new trade is going to increase your risk. But if it stabilizes and continues to consolidate with bullish momentum for next couple of sessions, for next 2 3 sessions at the minimum, and in that scenario we can indeed go for a new long trade in the price zone of around 240 to 250. This is going to be a crucial price range to watch out for in a couple of sessions ahead. So that is the outlook for short term. And if your time horizon is a bit longer, then from the medium term perspective, it has already rallied substantially. It is up around 25% from its recent swing low. And since this is a breakout of sort on the higher side, it has rallied past this prior swing high of 238. I think we can count on it to define the momentum in coming days as well. And looking at these big move, we have reasons to believe in the continuity, but here also we will need to be patient. We will need to allow it more time for consolidation, and in coming weeks we can indeed go for a fresh trade on the long side. So buy on dips is a good strategy to employ here, and all that we need at the current juncture is to wait for the correction and consolidation afterwards, and then we can indeed go for a new long trade. So that is also a scenario where we will have the odds in our favor. From the longer term perspective, the things are not that clear. It is rallying back on the higher side after having seen the contraction in its valuations of around two-thirds, and since the first quarter of this year it has started to rally higher. It has almost doubled in the valuation, but it is still in a consolidation phase. There is not a case of a fresh breakout on the higher side in the longer term. So I feel we will have to be cautious here, go with the flow, and in that case you have this immediate swing low of around 190 as your guiding light, and as long as the price holds above that, then we can continue to believe in the possibility of the Salesforce stock again touching this prior swing high of 311, and we can take our chances as long as the formation remains of higher highs and higher lows. So for next couple of months, the price zone of around 200 is going to be crucial, and if it doesn't really drop much below this immediate swing high, then we will have the odds in our favor. But if it drops, then I think I'm not really in favor of going for a buy. So watch out for the price zone of around 200, and if it holds, well and good, and if it doesn't, then we have to go for fresh review of the our outlook. And since the things are not that bullish from the longer term perspective, we will have to use the range to try and profit in that case. So for the short term and the medium term, it is a sure shot buy, but that is not really the case from the longer term perspective. We will have to use its recent range and try to exploit that to our advantage. And overall, this is a stock where it is going to be on balance beneficial to buy, but of course you need to have the risk reward ratio figured out by only in such scenarios where you feel that the risk is not that much. And for that, as I have already underlined, from the short term perspective, next couple of sessions are going to be crucial, and from the medium term perspective, the next couple of weeks are going to be crucial. So, depending on how the situation evolves, we will be in a position to make a fresh assessment and take a trading decision. So, that's my outlook looking at the current developments on the fundamental as well as technical side, which are all pointing northwards. It is flying higher in today's trading session, and it is likely to do so in next couple of sessions as well. So see how things turn out, and as and when you find risk reward ratio favorable after due consolidation, it is also advisable scenario to keep looking for buy on dips. So that's all from my side for today's session. If any of you have any query or any idea to share, do write to me in the feedback, and I would be more than happy to take the discussion forward. Thank you all for joining in. Have a fabulous day ahead. See you next time around. Goodbye.